Folks at home, welcome back to the Crimson Oak Pond, and if you missed the previous videos in this series, I'll put a link down in the description below. It's a beautiful day out here at the pond. Got a lot to catch you guys up on this week. So if you missed the last video, we had some baby ducks. Cutest little things ever. I'm going to be giving you an update on them soon. We also got a tagging system in, getting ready to add the bass to this pond. And as you can see out there on Alcatraz Island, I'm watering the grass, trying to get those warm season green grasses back growing. And then if you missed the last couple videos, we also did some fertilizing in the pond that changed the water parameters and water colors. And if you can see down there, we got some bluegill beds. That's in the little pea gravel that we put out. They've already started spawning. You can see those little black dots right there in the center of the beds. Those are bluegills. So I put a GoPro underwater so we could get a little bit closer look at these guys. And these are called copper-nosed bluegills. And once they get a little bit older, they'll have a copper band that runs across the head of the fish. But we stocked 6,000 of these in the pond about 3 months ago, and I'm amazed at how much they've grown in that short amount of time, and also that they're already starting to spawn. Here's a quick look at what they look like when we first put them in, but I didn't put the camera right on one of the beds, but if you pay close attention, that fish that's circling in the background, that's one of the bigger females going through her spawning ritual. And these particular fish are hanging around this dock and eating that high-protein pellet feed. But that's one of the reasons we put the copper nose in here, because they'll actually eat the pellet feed a little bit better than your common bluegill. And they'll also grow bigger. It's not uncommon to see a copper nose over 2 pounds. Alright folks, hanging out here inside the Crimson cabin. Got the bluegill mount over there. Got the chandelier hooked up, finally got power on. But I want to show you all the new pit tagging system. This is something I'm pretty excited about. So this is basically what you call a pit scanner right here, just a battery backpack. These are what you load the pit tags into. It's a 10 cartridge holder. Got a Bluetooth device to hook it up to a computer, and then here we have the pit tag injector, and these things, to kind of give you a frame of reference, they're about the size of a thumbnail. So inside of that is a little RFID tag. And one of the reasons I chose to use these RFID pit tags is because there's not a battery inside of any of these tags. So that means each tag will last the entire lifetime of the fish. So now let's show you how this is going to work. We got our scanner here. That's what it looks like on the back side. And this tag's going to be inside the belly of a fish. Well, let's go ahead and scan it. And as you can see there, it's got a unique 12-digit number that's going to pop up. And I'll use the USB device to hook that up to a computer. We're going to store that in a database. We're going to talk a lot more about that here in just a minute. But let's go ahead and load one of the cartridges up, and we'll show you how the injector works. Alright, we got some pit tags inside of here. We're just going to load that right into the top of it. Slide that tip end in, and then there you go. So it's pretty simple setup. That little rod pushes the pit tag into the fish. But here's the part I think you guys are really going to enjoy with me, and this is something we can all do over the next upcoming months. So every time I catch a fish, I'm going to inject a tag into it and scan it with this scanner. This device is going to send that data to my laptop. And here's a quick look at the spreadsheet I created. So each time we catch a fish, we're going to get a weight, a length, and a girth. So this is where the fun part begins. I'm going to tag the first 104 fish that we catch, and I'm going to let you all name them. And I'll be pulling all of these names out of the comment section on these videos. So for example, if Mr. Beast suggested Finn, and I like that name, then Finn would go in the name column, and a unique pit tag would get associated with that fish, and then the YouTube channel name will go right beside that. And I want to have some fun with it, so we're going to have contests and challenges, and we're going to start off with whichever is the first bass to reach 1 pound is going to win $500, and you all are going to be part of that and also win these prizes down below. So I left some of the prizes blank because I want some feedback from you all on what else you may like to win. Leave your comments down below on what you think we should name the fish, and the way we're naming them is I'm using the alphabet A through Z. Is 26 letters. We're going to go through the alphabet 4 times for a total of 104 fish. So leave as many fish names as you want to below, as well as any suggested prizes. And keep in mind, bass are male and female, so leave boy and girl names. Alright, now it's time to check the water clarity again with the Secchi disc. Last week it was about 36 inches visibility, which is a little bit too clear. That clear water helps us see the fish, but it's not really good for them, so we started our fertilizer program to help create an algae bloom, which also provides those little hatchling fish with another food source. So the ideal range is somewhere between 16 to 24 inches, and we're kind of right there at the top of that, so I'm going to go ahead and fertilize again. So instead of it being a snake under the boat today, it was a little mouse, and now you can see why the owls hang around out here so much. These little guys are everywhere. Check him out. He went in the water and is taking a swim. And trust me, little guy, you will not want to do that in a few weeks once the bass are in here, because I can 100% guarantee we would have just seen a big blow up. So I'm just riding around the pond trying to spread out the fertilizer as evenly as possible. And I can already tell we're starting to get a bloom. And basically I'll just check it every week to 2 weeks, and anytime the water visibility is above 24 inches, I'll add a little bit more. So I've had several situations where I needed electricity out here at the farm and didn't have it. So today we're going to be testing out this new Acre 757 portable power station. It definitely looks the part and has every hookup I could possibly need. Let's go test it out. Alright folks, we're in a pretty rough drought out here. It's been about 4 weeks since we've had a good rain, and our cypress trees need water. So we can't have them dying on us. Thankfully, the Acre is coming through. This is a perfect scenario out here on the farm. I got it hooked up. It's able to run my electric pump down here. And we got this huge water source right here, so we're just pulling a little bit of it out and pumping it up here to the trees. Let's go ahead and show you how this works. Cut that on, sucks it right out of the pond. Got full flow out of our water hose here. And you can see I took the protective covers off the trees, and you can see where the deer rubbed it right there, but I'm pretty sure it's going to survive. So now let's give it a good watering. And this one's the thirstiest of them all. Definitely needs it the most. So I got the supervisor out here watching me today, but I came back the next day and added some extra mulch because that'll help maintain that moisture. So folks, I'll put a link down in the video description if you want to check out this Acre 757. It's got 1500 watts of output power, which will power pumps like I used, as well as TVs, electric grills. It also recharges really quick. It only takes 1 hour to get it back to 80%. So if you're planning one of those summer vacations out in the wilderness, I would highly recommend it. And in case you missed the last video, our 2 pet ducks, Allie and Bam Bam, had 6 little ducklings that are just the cutest things ever. And we had to move Bam Bam to another pen because he was being a little too aggressive with the babies. But outside that, everything else has been great with them. I'm going to be coming up with names here for them soon, but I was trying to watch them and get a little bit of their personality. So far, we do have one runt that's a little bit smaller than the rest of them, but they've been a lot of fun to watch. And you can see here Mama Duck teaching them how to eat. She's showing them how to take the food and mix it in with the water. And she's very protective of them. I just cranked up the lawnmower and you can see her start pacing back and forth. And this is her sign to me that I got a little bit too close. And I'm not 100% sure what this face is, but I think she heard some sound off in the distance and wasn't quite sure what it was. But we'll be keeping you guys updated on the little ducks in each video, and we plan on taking them for their first swim next week. And speaking of Bam Bam, here's an update on him. So we've actually been letting him out of his pen a little bit and roam around. He hasn't made it down to the pond yet, but he does like to walk around out here in the peanut fields. But he typically stays pretty close. He has flown a little bit, but not very far away from the pens at all. I think he misses Allie and wants to get back in the pen with her because he always hangs out around this area when we let him out. Alright, now that we got the chance to stay out at the cabin, I'm going to be getting a lot more footage for you guys. Got a little stakeout set up right here by the Bluegills. You can see we got a little bit of a light rain out there. That definitely brings the animals out. So our wildlife segment might start getting a little bit longer each video, but let's see what comes out tonight. So we have our first signs of wildlife here, and it's a deer walking in the water. But pay close attention to that bank right there in front of him. Looks like he spooked a couple of ducks that were in there that I didn't even see. And maybe they'll get a little bit closer so we can get a good look at them. But it looks like they kind of surprised the deer too. And he keeps walking through the pond to cool off. But you can see we've got some corn and soybeans planted right there behind them. That should be a hot spot this fall. And would you look at that? We have our first wood ducks here at the pond. So we put some decoys out. We've got mallard, hen, and drakes out there. And then we came back later on and put some wood duck decoys. And we've even built them a wood duck house out on the island, a nesting box. But we haven't seen any of them up until today. They have that really colorful green and white striped head. They have very unique colors and it's easy to spot. But now let's see if the male can find out that that's a decoy. Doesn't seem to be fooling him. But they did hang out around it for a little while, but I think about this time of night they're starting to look for a place to sleep. And that's a cool shot with the sun setting in the background of them making their way to their final destination for the day. And as you can see, I've left a little bit of that tall winter grass on the banks because every time ducks fly in, they hadn't been using the islands and they've been using that grass for cover. And that seems to be exactly what these two are going to do. Looks like they're drying off and are probably going to hang out in this corner for tonight. Definitely hope we keep these guys around. And next up, it looks like we got Thumper out here absolutely shredding the salad. We have started seeing a lot more rabbits around lately. And this little guy looks like he's got an appetite. And a couple more deer walking down the dam of the pond. And several of them making their way over there to that corn, which is just about ready for them. And another shot we've been getting from our game cameras, you can see that some of the bucks are starting to grow out their velvet racks, and that just completely amazes me. I think the deer in this area keep their antlers year-round because they literally just shed them about 2 weeks ago, and now they're growing their next rack. I'm still amazed by that. Alright folks, out here about to do a little fish feeding. The timer's going to go off here in just a few minutes and send a bunch of pellets out there. We already have all the fish sitting up here waiting on them. But look at how much the pond water has changed. It's got that really dark green look to it, and I can still see bluegill beds kind of right out in that area. That's that pea gravel they've used to make their beds, so that's pretty cool. I can see a couple of them swimming around on it. They're like little piranhas out there. Finally got the bluegills coming over here to this feeder. So one of the things I underestimated the difficulty of when building a pond is getting grass to grow on the slopes. And by grass I mean permanent grass like Bahia or Bermuda. I can get temporary grass to grow all day long like winter ryegrass or brown top millet. But it's taken an extremely long time to get those permanent grasses in. And I've seeded it several times, and it seems like every time I do that, a big storm comes in and washes the seeds right down the slope. But my plan for today is to cut all of this tall winter grass down, and hopefully that'll provide like a mulch material and keep those seeds in place on the slope until they're able to germinate. Same thing here on the pond dam. We had some really good growth from the winter ryegrass and mixtures of seeds that we hydro-seeded, but the summer grasses didn't take off. And it's a little bit too steep of a slope to cut with my tractor, so I'm basically just playing NASCAR here on the zero turn and making loops around it. I find that it's easy to go down the hill, sometimes not so easy to go up without potentially flipping back over. So after we get all this cut down, I'm going to throw the seeds out. We're on about a 4-week drought here, but we should have some rain coming soon with the tropical system. So I'm out here on Alcatraz Island, and I've been watering the grass every day, and we finally do have some positive signs. We got some grass sprouting. Some of this is brown top millet from last year, but we do have a lot of Bermuda down there that's starting to send out its spreaders. So we should have an island full of green grass soon. So after a lot of hard work, we finally got everything set up at the cabin. We got the power on, and we're finally able to spend our first night out here on the farm. And the thing I was really interested to see is how us being out here at night affected the wildlife. And let's just go ahead and say we did not affect them at all. If anything, they were drawn to us. So I parked the 2 vehicles behind the cabin thinking it may not spook the deer as much, and they didn't mind it at all. They actually walked right up to the vehicles. And if you look here at the door, you can see me opening it up, talking, waving my arms. So basically, the deer are saying, this is our home and we're not leaving. And I also have to say that the vegetable garden is right over there in that area. So there are a few things drawing them in. I was also worried we may spook the 2 owls, but as you can see here, Al Capone sitting on top of the cabin did not bother him one bit. So now it's time to introduce you to the newest member of the farm, and that is a cat that I call Whiskers. He's a big, tall, black cat, and he's been hanging around the cabin every night, doing what I love seeing him do, and that's being on mouse patrol. So I was a little bit worried because if you guys recall that clip of the owl swooping down and tackling the fox, it made me think that the cat being a lot smaller may not have a chance against the owls, but I've seen them out here a bunch together without any issues, so it looks like Whiskers is here to stay. And got him. Now this one's the first one for me, folks. Looks like a buzzard has perched on top of one of the feeders. And I'm not 100% sure why, because I'm pretty sure buzzards won't eat this pellet feed. So I'm thinking maybe it's just a sunning spot. But it does seem like he's enjoying it. Never seen that one before.
You never could find me.
I found you. So I talked to the biologist and got an update on the bass, and he said they should be delivering them any day now. So I'm excited to say we could be stocking the bass in next week's video. And for most of you that have been following along with the whole series, that's something we've been waiting a long time for. So definitely excited about that. So make sure to comment those names below about the future bass, because we're going to start that tagging system. And it's an easy way to enter and potentially win a trip out here to see this pond for yourself. Now it is time to feed Mr. Moby. But that is going to wrap up this video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss that notification when we stock the bass. But I hope you all enjoyed this video, and we will see you all next time.